ahead and call the meeting to order. Roxanne, if you'll please take roll, and if we'll all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
Has council had time to review the agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please show a voting sign. Opposed, motion passes. Public comments. Persons who wish to address the city council regarding items on the agenda may do so as that agenda item is called. Persons who wish to address the council regarding items not on the agenda that are under the jurisdiction of the city council may do so at the time when called upon by the mayor. Comments on personnel matters, matters pending in the courts, or with other outside tribunals are not permitted. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Any presentation is for information. No action will be taken. Are there any speakers? Please come address the council.
I have just moved here.
If you'll speak into the mic, please.
I've just moved here from Garnett, up on Northwestern Street, across from the old nursing home that is shut down. And I have a single drive there, and when I have family get-togethers and things like that, when the kids come over, I have no parking. So being that it's not a nursing home no more and it's a dead-end street, I wanted to see if you guys would please remove the no parking signs so I can park out in front of the house when I have company. And that's all I wanted to ask.
Okay, we'll look into it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome. Yep. We'll definitely look into that and see, since that's, okay. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Seeing none, consent agenda. Any questions?
I have another appointment, may I?
That's fine. Are you, yeah.
Thank you.
No, but for future reference, public comments, you can come comment and head out afterwards.
I'll place that in and see what's going
Okay.
on around here.
Thank you. We also have it on YouTube if you ever want to watch us. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Consent agenda.
I'll make a
Go
motion
for
to
it.
approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. A little bit of business here on the proclamation. We are issuing a proclamation that we are trying to be a full count county. We're doing the whole county. Is that correct, Sid?
Yeah, I believe Humboldt is kind of doing a similar proclamation tonight, and I think the county is planning on it tomorrow. Just trying to get everybody on board and then kind of work together on the complete count committee.
For those of you wondering, the census is coming up. It's vitally important that we count every person here. That's how we receive state and federal funds. Sometimes they do estimates, and we're trying to get them to physically count every single person. Once you get that letter in the mail, you can actually go online and respond immediately and save some work and some time and some effort. But whereas the census is vital to our community in that the data ensures fair congressional representation by determining how many seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives, as well as the redistricting of the state legislature and county and councils in voting districts. And whereas the census is also used to help determine where to locate schools, daycare centers, senior citizen centers, hospitals, and other facilities, and is used to make decisions concerning business growth and jobs. And whereas the census data is the basis for allocation of billions of dollars of federal, state, and county funds for social and other programs. And whereas the census is used for planning for public transportation services, planning health and educational services for people with disabilities, urban planning, land use planning, developing assistance program for low-income families, making business decisions, school projects, developing adult education programs, and attracting new businesses to the state and local area. And whereas the census information is confidential and federal law prohibits any public or private agency from gaining access to the confidential census data. And whereas in the city of Iola, we are committed to collaborating with the U.S. Census Bureau in preparing for the 2020 census through address list updates, census map corrections, and jurisdictional boundary updates. Now, therefore, I, Jonathan Wells, Mayor of Iola, do hereby proclaim the city of Iola to be a Census 2020 partner and recognize Census 2020 as a top priority for all departments and appointed officials, and encourage the community to place an emphasis on partnering with the U.S. Census Bureau in achieving an accurate and complete count in the 2020 census. Signed this day of September. Executive session. Why don't we start with 30? Let's go ahead and invite the HR and include the city manager, but he'll sit out here until we want to call him back.
I'll make a motion to move the city council recess into executive session for 30 minutes pursuant to personnel matters of non-elected personnel, KSA 75-4319B1. The purpose of the executive session is to discuss an individual employee's performance and shall include the mayor, council, city attorney, human resource manager, and city administrator. The regular meeting shall reconvene in the city council chamber at 6:36.
Is there a second? Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor, please show a voting sign. Opposed? Motion passes. '58 now. Standard traffic ordinance.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, we have up for adoption tonight the Standard Traffic Ordinance and the Unified Public Offense Code. These are things that we do annually. The league kind of puts out an update after the legislative season, and then staff goes through it and makes some of the modifications to fit the ordinances that we have in place. Pretty much the Standard Traffic Ordinance is the same as it was last year. There's it covers all the micro utility and golf cart and low-speed vehicle traffic on the streets. I think that's the one that also kind of gives the school district the ability to do some traffic control at their facilities. And then the Uniform Public Offense Code, there was really only one thing that was added this year. One of the exclusions to the code that we don't want is on sexual battery in municipal court. That would be handled at the county level. My understanding, because if we do it in municipal court, there's no real stipulation for enforcing somebody to become registered if they were charged with or convicted of that. So other than that, we have, each ordinance will have to be approved separately.
Is there any questions, or someone want to make me a motion or two here?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 3487, standard traffic ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. And
Make a motion to approve ordinance 3488, uniform public offense code.
motion's been made and seconded to approve ordinance 3488. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Neighborhood revitalization.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, it seems like we just did this yesterday, but it is time to renew the neighborhood revitalization plan. It's basically kind of an incentive that we have in the city of Iola for making improvements or building new in residential, commercial, or industrial areas. This is something that's been in place, I think, since 2012. It's basically any improved increase in appraised valuation of about $5,000 is eligible. Our boundaries are the city limits, basically, and then it's a rebate program. So the first 1 through 6 years, that's 100% rebate, and then it tapers off 80, 60, 40, 20, and then by year 11, then they're paying the full taxes with no rebate. If council is agreeable to this, we will then go and get the interlocal agreements with Allen County, the community college, and the school district. And basically all we're doing tonight is setting the public hearing for the next meeting. We have to have it published once a week for 2 weeks, and we can meet that requirement by the next meeting, and then we'll have the approval.
How many times was this program used last year, or do you know?
Yeah, it's used quite a bit, and at next meeting, I have all that as part of the part of the packet. It'll have, we usually put in, I think I have in the amount of rebate, what that equivalent is, and then some of the numbers of how many people how many times it's been utilized
I do know a lot
year.
of public businesses, a lot of local businesses that whenever they're trying to improve, that's usually that's really helpful for them. And sometimes that's just making their business prettier, adding a front awning or something like that. Then they're like, well, I'm going to put this in, but that way I'm not double penalized on it. I'm going to make the town prettier, so.
Do you know, does code enforcement, when someone comes in to apply for a building permit or a permit to do something, do they push that program on the people saying
Yes.
we have it?
Yep.
Have to sign off that they got it.
Yep, it's on the building permit itself, there's a place for them to sign it, and that they've received that
So
information.
this is being pushed
Yep,
a lot out to the general public, so everybody knows that, hey, it's here, use it if you can. Okay?
Got a motion to set this public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we set the public hearing on the neighborhood revitalization plan on September 23rd, 2019, at 6 PM.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to set the public hearing. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Audit.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, last year, we solicited for auditing services, and Meishauser Company was selected to provide those services, which they did this year. They are going through kind of not really a reorganization, but they're changing their focus. My understanding, I think Meishauser is going more towards businesses, and they're not going to do the municipal and school district audits anymore. And one of their current employees, Sean Gordon, is going to start his own company and is going to kind of take on that clientele for them. He's actually the auditor that came and did our audit this year, and staff was pleased with the work that he did and the working relationship that we were able to develop. So what we're basically looking at is authorizing staff to engage Gordon CPA to do the audit, and this is based off of the same proposal price that Meishauser gave us last year.
So you're just switching the contract between Company
Yeah.
A that's cutting it out into a company they've spun off into Company B.
Yep.
But this was the winning bid on that whenever we bid it out.
Yes.
This is the same bid.
Yep.
Okay.
And how long is this contract, for a year or 2 year?
It would basically, because they've already done the audit for 18, it would just be for 2019's audit and 2020's audit.
And then we'd rebid it in 2020.
Yeah.
Which is pretty standard.
I make a motion that we authorize staff to engage Gordon CPA LLC and sign the necessary documents for the financial audit for fiscal year 2019 and 2020.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please show a voting sign. Opposed? Motion passes. Council and administrator reports. Ron?
I don't have anything.
Kim? Nancy? Mark?
I just see we had 5 anniversaries for this month. 5 out of this, well, we have 6 of them. 5 out of the 6 are 11 to 32 years. Congratulations on that. It means they're sticking with us.
I have nothing.
People just watch blowing your grass in the streets. The street and alley guys are trying to chip and seal the streets, but they can't do it if they constantly got to be sweeping up grass.
And I would like to dunk a basketball, but we are probably barking up the wrong tree on both those.
I'll make my motion here in a minute.
Okay, Danny.
I'm good, thank you.
Kudos, I think a couple of weeks ago, we had a pretty bad storm, and we lost power at a couple areas that were back on. Apparently, I had somebody say that he woke up and the power was off at 2:30, and he woke back up at like 4:30 in the morning, and the power was back on, which was pretty impressive that those guys were out there. 2, remember citywide cleanups coming up. That's a great service that we offer. Go get those limbs out, get those old TVs, get those things, clean it out, and clean up your yards. We're a pretty little community. Let's keep it that way.
September 22nd.
September 22nd, they need to call you. Get on the list. When do they need to call you by?
That Friday at noon, so the 20th,
The 20th. Okay.
is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sid?
I just wanted to kind of let council know the high school was wanting to put up some banners on our light poles our decorative light poles coming into the park, and so you'll see those this Friday. I think they're supposed to be in and up, and so it'll be kind of a nice thing for school spirit. So that's basically all that I had.
Gene?
Make a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
Second.
All those in favor, please show a voting sign. Opposed? Passes.